things or physical sensations you're experiencing right now. Try to translate your experience into words. For example, there are self-critical thoughts, or I notice I am tense. What are you feeling in your body? Allow yourself to feel what you are feeling in the current moment. Accept it. You can tell yourself that it's okay, what you're feeling. Whatever is there is just fine the way it is. And next, focus your full attention on your breath. Follow the breath with your attention all the way in and all the way out. Noticing all the differences between the in-breath and the out-breath. The movement in your body as you breathe in, and the movement as you breathe out. And allowing your attention to expand to the rest of your body. Notice where your body is in contact with the chair or whatever you are sitting on. The feeling of your feet on the floor and your hands in your lap. Notice any temperatures around the body, how they may differ from your feet to your legs, your body, abdomen, arms and hands, and neck and face. And just hold on your full body in awareness now, as you are just sitting there. And as we just come to the end of that little meditation, just opening your eyes when you're ready. Okay, so that was just a little meditation to get us started. And I'll just wait for Amy to join us before she's there now. So, what I'm going to do now is just going to ask you all to make sure that you're all on mute. And so now I'm going to take you through a presentation about what is mindfulness, to give you a good understanding of what it's all about. Okay, so what is mindfulness? Sorry, doesn't seem to be doing anything. Okay, so thought it would be a good idea to just start off by talking about what is mindlessness. So, have you ever driven somewhere and arrived at your destination, remembering little about parts of the journey because your mind was just focused somewhere else? You may have gone down a motorway and then thought, oh God, I don't even know where I've been for the last 5 minutes. Or grabbed a snack and noticed a few moments later that all you have left is an empty packet. You haven't even noticed the taste of whatever you've been eating. It's just gone down in 30 seconds and you just haven't even been aware of what you've just snacked on. Or had a conversation with someone, walked away and realised that you'd missed parts of the conversation. or you couldn't even remember what their name was, even though they told you. In those moments, it was because your mind was focused somewhere else rather than what you were actually meant to be focusing on in that present moment. Or experienced your mind racing with everything you've got to do today, tomorrow, and the rest of the week. Perhaps being a student, your mind, and you've got like assignments to complete, and you're trying to focus on an assignment that you're doing now, but your mind is just racing ahead, thinking, oh, I've still got to do this, and I've still got to do that, and I've still got to do the other. Again, right that moment, your mind is being mindless. Your attention isn't totally focused on what you're meant to be focusing on in that moment. So where's your head at? Where's your head at most of the time? Are you focusing on the past, reminiscing about things that have happened in the past? Maybe perhaps somebody said something to you in your past, or you had a difficult experience, and in the present moment you're still going over it in your mind. Or you've listening to that inner critic in your mind, you're getting those feelings of lack where you've got that inner critic telling you not good at this, you're not very good at that, whatever it might be. Or say reminiscing about the past. So it might be something good where you've just gone into a daydream about something nice that happened in the past. Or even comparing yourself to others. We tend to do that a lot, sometimes to try and make ourselves feel better about ourselves by comparing ourselves, or it can go the other way. We can compare ourselves and think that somebody else is better than us. Or planning. I mean, obviously it's important to plan, but if you're supposed to be focusing on a particular thing in the present moment, but your mind is racing away planning other things, planning that holiday that you want to be going on while you're meant to be doing particular assignments. Again, that's an example of being mindless. You're just not aware of the present moment. Or being distracted by social media, constantly checking Facebook or Instagram or whatever it might be, having that diversion away from what you're meant to be doing in the present moment. Or catastrophizing about the future, particularly with the situation that we've got at the moment with coronavirus. We can tend to get into catastrophizing and worry about what might be, what if this, what if that. Or daydreaming, which is the same as what I just mentioned about reminiscing, but you might be daydreaming about something in the future, some nice, lovely holiday that you're going to go on, or having a date with somebody or something like that. Or worrying, which again is just similar to catastrophizing, worrying about what might happen in the future. What if I don't get this work done? What if this? What if that? Or judging, which again is the same as similar to comparing. You're judging yourself, judging other people, or even judging yourself. Or blaming, or again, just your mind focused on the future. So these are all things that can distract you and take you away from from focusing on the present moment. So your storytelling mind. So your mind is a great storyteller. It's really, really good at telling stories about things that might happen, things that have happened in the past, things that might happen in the future. But a lot of what it tells you is just that. Stories, loves telling stories. I want you to just think about, say for example, a colleague looks at you in a funny way, and then straight away that story starts being created in your mind. Why did he or she just look at me like that? Am I in trouble? Have I done something wrong? And then you start creating these big stories in your mind about what's gone on, when all that might have happened is just that person's having a bad day, or somebody doesn't return home. A loved one doesn't return home from work or school or wherever it might be on time, and then again the stories start mounting in your mind. What if something's happened to them? And again, the story and all that fear and worry creeps into your mind. Or you get a pain in your chest and you start thinking, oh, am I having a heart attack? And again, your mind just starts creating those stories around about having this pain. So is your mind like an untrained puppy? That's what I like to think of your mind as being like. So I want you to think about an untrained puppy. If you've ever had a puppy and you're trying to train it to sit and stay, and you might get the puppy to stay for like 10 seconds, and then before you know it, the puppy is just wandering off, chewing on something, and then you bring the puppy back, and again you can get it to sit and stay. And then before long, it's off, and it's trying to find something to eat. And then again, you bring the puppy back and you get it to sit and stay. And then the next thing, it's going off and trying to find something to play with. And again, you bring the puppy back. And eventually, over time, the more you train the puppy to sit and stay, it will, sit and stay for longer. And it's the same with your mind. We have all these distractions and all these stories that are being told in our mind. And, your mind is just constantly wandering off from the present moment. As I mentioned, you're wandering off to the past, the future, comparing, judging, blaming, catastrophizing. But it's about learning to just keep bringing your mind, let all those stories go and bring your mind back to the present moment. And the more you practice it, the better you'll get at it, just like with an untrained puppy. So research shows that at least 50% of the time your mind is wandering, and most of that makes you unhappy. So there is actually research that has shown that the more your mind tends to wander, the unhappier you are. So in this particular research, that they had like a few thousand people, and they had an app on their phone, and every now and again the app would ping, and they would have to answer things like, what are you doing at the moment? What are you focused on? How are you feeling? And for these people that were in the research, for the people that where their mind were wandering, they were actually unhappy. So research has actually shown that all this mind wandering actually makes us unhappy. All this storytelling makes us unhappy. So is your mind focused on the present moment, or is it somewhere else? When you're supposed to be doing an assignment or whatever it might be, how much are you actually focused on what you're meant to be doing, or how much are you constantly being distracted by, your mind telling stories, or being distracted by social media, or thinking about the past or the future, or worrying about coronavirus or whatever it might be. So getting on to what is mindfulness. So John Kabat-Zinn, he's an American guy who he practiced Buddhism, and part of the Buddhism practice is mindfulness. And anyway, he decided to bring mindfulness over to the Western world. So he took out the Buddhism concepts of mindfulness and just used the mental practice, because he obviously saw that it could be like really, really beneficial to people, and helping them to increase their happiness. So he describes mindfulness as awareness that emerges through paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. So basically, it's about learning to get more in touch with your thoughts, your feelings, noticing where your mind is right at this moment. And if you notice that it's somewhere else, just bringing it back to the present moment, but not judging yourself for all that mind wandering that you do. And so it's a great practice for helping to become more self-aware of where your thoughts, where your feelings are, and helping to bring you back to the present moment. So and it's a great tool for helping you to increase your self-awareness. So obviously we have lots of thoughts going on in our minds. A lot of them you may not even be aware of what's going on. But it's really important to start getting in touch with your thoughts, because depending on the types of thoughts you have, can lead to changes in the way you feel. So say, for example, you're having negative thoughts in your mind, that can change your feelings to become negative. So, it can bring on, anxiety, stress, worry, depression, whatever it might be. And then those feelings can change your behavior. So, so if you're feeling stressed, anxious, worried, depressed, then that's going to change how you behave, behave around others, behave, in your life around you. And then changing your behavior. If you've got negative behaviors, then that can change your thoughts again. So it's really, really important to become self-aware, start getting in touch with your thoughts. And so then that you could get more in touch with your feelings and your behaviors. And, this can all lead to you leading a much happier life. So what is mindfulness? So mindfulness is a mind training practice, and it does involve doing meditations to help you train your mind, but it is more than that. It's more about going about your daily life and just being more aware of what's going on for you and how much mind wandering you're doing, and just keep bringing it back to the present moment, and focusing on what you should be focusing on right at this moment. So it teaches you to take control of your mind, because if you haven't practiced mindfulness, your thoughts can just like be all over the place. You can be thinking about one thing, and then before you know it, something else will happen, and then your thoughts will go somewhere else, and then something else will happen, and then your thoughts will go somewhere else. So it's almost like you've got no control over your mind, but you can learn to have control over your mind, and the more you have control, the happier your life will become, and more content as well. So it teaches you to recognize when your mind is wandering. So all that mind wandering that I've just described there, it teaches you to, really focus on or learn to recognize when your mind is doing all that mind wandering, and just notice, oh yeah, my mind's wandering again. I'll just bring it back to focusing on what I'm meant to be focusing on right now. And so it directs your attention back to the present moment. The present moment is the only time, the only moment that you can actually be truly alive. And so it's always going to be best to be able to do that. And acceptance of what is happening right now. But again, just taking coronavirus as an example, it's something that we can't control. It's totally out of our hands. But if we fight against it and go, oh, this isn't fair, I hate this, when's it all going to stop? All these thoughts just, cause even more stress and anxiety for yourself, because there's nothing that you can do about it. Whereas mindfulness teaches you to accept the things that you can't control. And when you accept them, again, that leads you to feel a lot calmer. Helps you to let go of your stress and your anxiety about what is actually happening right now. So again, letting go of the struggles in the present moment. It reduces the amount of unnecessary chatter, which I've already mentioned, and it stops you taking on the weight of the world as well. Again, just going back to the topic of coronavirus, if you start taking on the weight of the world about what's happening with the world, and the financial situation, and what's happening in different countries, and all that kind of thing, what's happening to the world, it can just like really, really weigh you down. But again, it's something that you can't control. So it's about learning to recognize when you're taking on the weight of the world, and just bringing it back to focusing on what's important for you right now. And the calmer you are, the less stress and anxiety you have, the more you're able to think more clearly and logically, particularly if you're a student and you're doing an assignment, when you let go of all your stress and anxiety, it's a lot easier to be able to focus on the thing that you're doing right at this moment, without all that stress and anxiety. And it stops you overreacting as well. So it's going to help improve your relationships with people. As I mentioned, if you get more in touch with your thoughts and your feelings and your behaviours, then you can, if somebody has aggravated you in some way, it teaches you to stop overreacting and just deal with that situation in a much calmer way, so that you don't end up ruining relationships. So mindfulness teaches you, as I say, to get more in touch with your thoughts and your feelings. It teaches you to unravel and let go of all those unnecessary thoughts, stories, and chatter in your mind, because you're becoming more self-aware of what's going on for you. So a mindfulness practice typically involves exercises which encourage you to keep bringing the mind back to the present moment. So those exercises will be meditations, there'll be little tasks that you'll have through the day to be mindfully aware of something that you're doing, mindfully aware of brushing your teeth, or mindfully aware of eating a meal, or mindfully aware of going for a walk. So again, it teaches you to be mindful in that present moment, and so that your awareness is totally on the present moment, and it's not, go spiraling all over the place. And it helps you to bring your focus back to the here and now, and let go of all those stories, all the weight of the world that you may be carrying on your shoulder. And, as I say, the present moment is the only moment that can ever truly exist. So it teaches you to get the most out of each moment. So I'm going to take you through a meditation in a minute, but first I want to explain to you how to meditate, because you may think that, I know years ago when I started meditating, I thought that I had to just sit there and keep my mind totally blank. And obviously I soon gave up, because I realized that was impossible to do. And so I'm going to show you what should happen when you are meditating. So first of all, you would sit down with your attention, with your focus and attention inward on your breath. Or it might be, you might be focusing on drinking a cup of tea or having a bath or a shower. So focus attention inward on your breath. So you'll be sitting there and you'll be noticing all the differences between the in-breath and the out-breath. And you may be able to do this for about 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes if you're lucky. But then at some point, this will happen. Mind wandering, which I've been talking about. So your mind will start possibly worrying, thinking, planning, reminiscing. So you're supposed to be focusing on your breath, but your mind has decided to go off on a bit of a wander somewhere. And this may carry on for like 30 seconds, a minute, even 2 minutes or longer. But then at some point you will notice that your mind has wandered. And then so then you recognize that it's wandered. And as soon as you notice that it's wandered, it's just like, oh, I've noticed my mind has wandered. I'll bring my focus back to my breath. So then again, you bring your focus back to your breath. You'll be able to notice all the differences between the in-breath and out-breath. And then at some point, mind wandering will happen again. And then as soon as you recognize that it's wandered, you bring it back to the breath. So if you did a 10-minute meditation, for example, you may be able to focus on your breath for like 2 minutes. But when you start, and that is absolutely fine, but the more you practice it, the better you get at it, and the more you're able to just keep your focus on your breath for longer periods of time. And the more you practice it, the more you're able to bring it into your daily life. So you start, if you're focusing on something at the moment, as say, an assignment that you're meant to be doing, it will become easier to recognize when your mind has wandered or you've been distracted, and it's just like, oh, my mind's gone somewhere else, or I've been distracted. I'll bring it back to focusing on what I'm meant to be doing in this present moment. So it increases the amount of focus that you have on the task in hand. So now I'm going to do a meditation, a guided meditation for you. So this is called Breath in the Body meditation. So we're just going to be focusing on your breath. So while you're doing this, I want you to say, just focusing on all the differences between the in-breath and the out-breath, and I'll guide you through this. And while we're doing this, at some point your mind will wander off, but it's about just recognizing when it's wandered off and then bring it back to your breath. Okay, so I want you to just, again, make yourself comfortable. Just settling yourself into a comfortable position. And allow your eyes to close, or keep them open with a softened gaze, whatever's comfortable for you. And begin by taking several long, slow, deep breaths. Breathing in fully and exhaling fully. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose or mouth, or whatever's comfortable for you. Allow your breath to find its own natural rhythm. Bring your full attention to noticing each in-breath as it enters your nostrils, travels down to your lungs, and causes your chest and belly to expand. And notice each out-breath as your belly contracts and air moves up through the lungs, back up through the nostrils or mouth. And invite your full attention to flow with your breath. Notice how the inhale is different from the exhale. You may experience the air as cool as it enters your nose and warm as you exhale. As you turn more deeply inward, begin to let go of noises around you. If you are distracted by sounds in the room, simply notice them and then bring your intention back to your breath. Simply breathe as you breathe, not striving to change anything about your breath. Don't try to control your breath in any way. Observe and accept your experience in this moment without judgment, paying attention to each inhale and exhale. If your mind wanders to thoughts, plans, or problems, simply notice your mind wandering. Watch the thought as it enters your awareness, as neutrally as possible. Then practice letting go of the thought, as if it were a leaf floating down a stream. In your mind, place each thought that arises on a leaf and watch it as it floats out of sight down the stream. Then bring your attention back to your breath. Your breath is an anchor you can return to over and over again when you become distracted by thoughts. Notice when your mind has wandered. Observe the types of thoughts that hook or distract you. Noticing is the richest part of learning. And with this knowledge, you can strengthen your ability to detach from thoughts and mindfully focus your awareness back on the qualities of your breath. Practice coming home to the breath with your full attention, watching the gentle rise of your stomach on the in-breath and the relaxing letting go on the out-breath. Allow yourself to be completely with your breath as it flows in and out. You might become distracted by pain or discomfort in the body, or twitching or itching sensations that draw your attention away from the breath. You may also notice feelings arising, perhaps sadness or happiness, frustration or contentment. Acknowledge whatever comes up, including thoughts or stories about your experience. Simply notice where your mind went without judging it, pushing it away, clinging to it, or wishing it were different. And simply refocus your mind and guide your attention back to your breath. Breathe in and breathe out. Follow the air all the way in and all the way out. Mindfully be present, moment by moment, with your breath. If your mind wanders away from your breath, just notice without judging it. Be it a thought, emotion, or sensation that hooks your attention, and gently guide your awareness back to your breath. And as this practice comes to an end, slowly allow your attention to expand and notice your entire body, and then beyond your body to the room you are in. And when you are ready, open your eyes and come back fully alert and awake. Okay, would anybody like to share how they found that meditation? Or has anybody got any questions about the presentation that I just did? Perhaps something that can help you understand a bit more about what mindfulness is. Were you able to keep your mind focused on your breath, or did you find that it was wandering a lot?
Mine was
Yeah.
wandering a lot, actually.
Okay.
I find it really hard to focus on the present, but I try to do it as often as I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, and that's what it's all about. You know, at first, you know, because you've only just started, it is difficult to just keep your mind, you know, focused on one thing. You know, as I explained about the training a puppy, you know, to sit and stay, it will just keep wandering off, and then you bring it back and you get to sit and stay, and then it will wander off again, and then you bring it back and you get to sit and stay. But you know, the more you train the puppy, the better it will get at just sitting and staying. And it's the same with your mind as well. You know, you try and focus on your breath and it'll just wander off, and then you bring it back and then it'll wander off again. But the more you practice the meditation, the better you get at it. And you know, you start, you know, seeing the benefits of doing the practice.
Yeah, that's true actually, because I've been doing it for a while. I notice I'm better, although I sometimes have days where it just doesn't quite work. So then I think I'm back to square one, but it's not. It's practice.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And you know, and even though I've been doing it for a while, I still get it as well. You know, I'll sit there and, you know, depending on what sort of day I've had, you know, my mind will start wandering about the things that I've done that day, and it's just like, oh, just bring it back. So yeah, so even I have good days and I have bad days, but you know, I am a lot better at bringing it into my daily life as well. You know, just sitting there and just being, you know, quiet for a few minutes, and the more you do that, the more it calms your mind down. Mm-hmm.
Linda, we've got also two reaction from Catherine and Olivia in the chat if you want to check.
Say that again, sorry?
We've got two like comment from Catherine and Olivia on the chat if you want to check.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, where do I see that? Can't see it.
You should have, it's fine. Catherine said, my mind was wandering off a lot to different tasks I have.
Yeah.
And Olivia said, mine kept wandering off a lot. I started thinking about my to-do list for today and next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as I was just saying to Beatrice, you know, because you've only just started doing something like this, it is bound to happen, but you know, you have to be kind to yourself, and you know, accept that you're not going to be brilliant at it first. I remember going to a meditation class a few years ago, and the guy that was leading the meditation class, he said to me, even if you sit there for 10 minutes and you know your mind only stays focused on your breath for 2 minutes, you've still done yourself a whole world of good. And so, you know, so I've just kept that in my mind, you know, since then. So so you know, you know, if you start doing this practice regularly, don't beat yourself up because you weren't able to keep your mind focused on the present moment, on your breath. You know, so you have to be kind to yourself and understand that you're only just learning how to do it. But the more you do it, the better you will get at it, and then the better you'll be at introducing it into your daily life. And you know, you start noticing when you're trying to get an assignment done and then your mind's just rushing ahead of yourself going, oh God, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Because when your mind is full of all those thoughts of I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do the other, you can't do, you know, the work that you're meant to be doing at the present moment. So it will teach you to notice, oh, I notice I'm having those thoughts about all these other things that I've got to do. And it's just like, right, okay, well, I'll just let them go. I'll just let them go now. And I'll just keep my mind focused on what I need to do right now. And I will get it done a whole lot quicker if I just let go of all those thoughts. So, you know, so that's how it can really help you, you know, with your studies. Mm-hmm. Okay, any other questions? Okay, just got a few more slides, and then I'll do I'll do another meditation with you. Okay, so doing a mindfulness practice normally involves doing a program. So it would normally, you know, go over about 8 weeks, and during those 8 weeks, you know, you'd have different mindfulness topics, you'd have different meditations to listen to, and you know, and all that keeps you on the right path for developing your mindfulness practice. So so the practice would normally involve having, you know, a formal daily meditation. So just like that meditation that I've just done. So there'll be a meditation that you have to listen to every day. So the meditations only normally take about 10 or 15 minutes in the morning, 10 or 15 minutes in the evening. And then you would also have little tasks to do during the day, you know, bringing your mindful awareness to daily activities. So such as, you know, brushing your teeth, but being mindful about brushing your teeth. So rather than thinking about all the things that you've got to do today, you're just mindfully aware of what it feels like to brush your teeth. And that's just helping to keep you in the present moment. Or it might be eating a meal mindfully, you know, as I mentioned, you know, earlier on in the presentation, that, you know, a lot of the time we might eat something and, you know, we'll just stuff it back in a few minutes and it's gone and we haven't even tasted it. But it's about bringing your mindful awareness to eating a meal as well, and just staying in the present moments. There are also practices around daily gratitude as well, and being kind and compassionate. You know, a lot of the time we can look at our lives and just go, oh, you know, I hate my life, or, you know, this is wrong and that's wrong and the other's wrong. But when we're totally focused on those things all the time, we just miss all the good in our lives as well. So a mindfulness practice would also include, you know, learning to be grateful, and it's also learning to be kind and compassionate to yourself as well as other people. And, you know, and studies have shown that, you know, just doing these things, gratitude, kindness and compassion, can really help increase the amount of happiness and contentment that you experience in your daily life. and habit releasing as well. You know, a lot of the time we work on automatic pilots. So say, for example, if you're going to university or walking home and you always walk the same way, you just do it on automatic pilot. And, you know, so because your mind is just wandering somewhere else as you're walking to university or walking home. So it also teaches you to let go of these habits, perhaps encouraging you to walk a different way to university or home, so that you start noticing things more. And again, that keeps you in the present moment. So there's been lots of research around mindfulness and the benefits of it. So, researchers prove that it improves your mental health and well-being, because you're not doing all that mind wandering. You know, you're not reminiscing over things that have gone wrong in the past, or worrying about things that might go wrong in the future, or comparing yourself or judging yourself, listening to that inner critic in your mind. It teaches you to let go of all those thoughts that cause you stress and anxiety. It's been shown to reduce stress, as I've just mentioned, and psychological distress, because you're letting go of all those worrying thoughts. Increases your emotion regulation and self-control. So as I mentioned before, you know, if somebody irritates you, you know, right at this moment, you might be in a state of mind where you will just, you know, just kick off and just end up having a massive argument with them, and then you end up damaging that relationship. But with mindfulness, it teaches you to recognize if somebody irritates you. It teaches you to recognize what's going on for you. What are the thoughts? What are the feelings that's going on for you? And rather than just like explode, and it's just like, right, okay, how can I'll just take a breather, and how can I deal with this situation in a much better, in a way, in a much more more controlled way, so that I don't damage this relationship. An ability to cope better with life's challenges. Again, particularly with coronavirus, you know, it helps you to cope better in accepting what's going on, and not taking on the weight of the world. You know, these are things that we can't control. So you know, there's a saying that goes, you know, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf. And that's what mindfulness teaches you to do. It teaches you to ride the waves. You know, you'll go through good times in your life, and you'll go through challenging times. But mindfulness teaches you to deal with the challenging times in a much better way, to keep your stress and anxiety down, and your ability to resolve issues creatively and with clarity. You know, as that example of that I've just given, you know, if you've got an assignment to do and your mind's racing ahead thinking about all these other things that you've got to do, there's no, you know, it's really, really difficult to you know, deal with what you need to deal with. Or if you've got a problem that you need to deal with, you know, if you're sitting there and just worrying about what might happen, you're not actually able to deal with the problem in a creative way. Whereas mindfulness teaches you to let go of all those thoughts about worrying about what might happen if you don't resolve it, and it teaches you to actually deal with the problem, you know, with more creativity and more clarity as well. So that leads you to feeling a lot happier and calmer and more relaxed in your life. So now I'm going to do a body scan meditation. So with this meditation, I'm just going to guide you through focusing on different parts of your body. So just like you were doing with your breath, you're just going to focus on different parts of your body. And, you know, at some point your mind will wander, and it's about bringing your attention back to what you were meant to be focusing on. And, you know, and again, not beating yourself up for your mind wandering, because that's what your mind will keep on doing. But it's about recognizing that it's wandered and bringing your attention back. So again, just making yourself comfortable with your feet flat on the floor, your hands in your lap, and closing your eyes, or lowering your gaze to avoid any visual distractions. And during this body scan, your mind may wander into thinking and planning. And if this happens at any point, There's no need to criticize yourself. Just notice where the mind has wandered to. And gently bring it back to the area of the body you were focusing on. So beginning now by taking a few deep breaths to welcome yourself into this moment. And just doing a brief mindful check-in. Getting a sense of the positioning of your body. Becoming aware of how your body is feeling right now. And so begin by bringing your attention to your feet. Noticing all the sensations in the soles of the feet. The toes, the top of the feet, the heels, and the ankle joints. Noticing whatever is being experienced here. Just allowing it and letting it be exactly as it is. Now moving your attention up into the lower legs, to the knees and the upper legs. Noticing any temperatures, textures, and sensations throughout the legs. And just feeling into the entirety of the legs with a sense of curiosity. Observing what is going on for you there, right now. And if there is no feeling at all, then just acknowledging this. There is no right or wrong. And now shifting your awareness up from your legs into the hips and pelvis. Noticing how with intention you can move your awareness at will. There is no need to analyze what is happening. Simply noticing things as they are. Observing them. Letting things be just as they are. Noticing each sensation. And remember, if at any point you notice your mind has drifted off, just gently bring it back into focusing on your hips and pelvis. And now moving your attention to your back, becoming aware of contact points with the chair, the feeling of your clothes against your skin. Noticing any temperatures or sensations in this area of your body. And then choosing to shift your awareness to your abdomen and chest. Noticing the movement in this area of your body with every in-breath and out-breath. And then moving your awareness to your shoulders, down your arms, to your hands. Noticing where your arms and hands are in contact with the rest of your body. Noticing any temperatures, differences in temperatures between where your skin is exposed and where it's covered. And then taking your attention to your neck, your face, your scalp, and down to your ears. What sensations are happening there for you right now? And again, if the mind drifts off, just noticing where it's drifted to. And bring your attention back to your scalp, to your face, to your ears, your neck. And now just gently coming back to the breath. Breathing in and noticing how the whole body expands. And breathing out and noticing how the body contracts. Getting a sense that this body is connected and whole. And as we end this practice, ending with what is most important, acknowledging this act of choice, of taking this time out for your health and well-being. And just opening those eyes when you're ready. Would anybody like to share how they found that meditation? Your mind wandering a lot again. Oh, I can see where the chat is now. Yeah, okay. So I guess you had the same problem as with the breathing meditation where your mind was wandering a lot. Judith?
I actually find that one easier to stay focused.
Okay.
I think because you're directing us to move around.
Yeah. Different meditations work for different people. I know some people prefer the breathing meditation because they can feel the body moving as they breathe in and moving as they breathe out. But if you're focusing on different parts of your body, some people find it a bit more difficult. But as I say, different meditations work for different people. Okay, so just the last little slide now. Okay, so this is just, I'll send you this handout, but this is just 9 easy ways to be more mindful. So just a few different ways that you can start bringing mindfulness into your life. So just by starting the day with a few mindful moments, and just also setting that intention that, to be more mindful through the day. So, it might involve listening to a guided meditation. And as I say, just setting that intention to be more mindful through the day can really help. Or practice active listening. you know, in the slides I mentioned about, you know, you've had a conversation with somebody and you've walked away and you haven't even heard what they were talking about or what their name was. So you just become more aware when you are listening to somebody, that you are truly listening and you're not like already wanting to interrupt and just give them your response. You just really get into that idea of listening to somebody and what they've got to say. And that is something that will really help improve your relationships with everybody. Knowing, you know, when people know that they've been listened to, it makes a big difference. Notice your body language as well, you know, become aware of what signals you're giving off with your body as well. You know, if you're sitting there and you're just obviously clearly not engaged with what somebody's saying because you're looking somewhere else or playing with your hair, or, you know, or playing with a pen and a piece of paper, you know, these are messages that you're giving off to somebody that you're not fully aware, you know, interested in what they're saying. But it's about, you know, just becoming aware of your body language and the signals that you're giving off. Go for a mindful walk. So, you know, so a few times during the week, just go for a mindful walk where you just, all you're doing is focusing on the walk. You know, so if your mind starts racing ahead with lots of different things that you've got to do, just bring it back to the walk. Notice everything that you can see, hear, feel, smell, while you're on your walk. And I guarantee that you'll get a lot more out of the walk when you do that. Eat mindfully. So, you know, so just choose to eat a few meals during the day, where you through the week rather, where you're going to eat them mindfully, where you're going to sit down at the table and just focus on your food, noticing on all the colours, the aromas, the flavours, and again, you'll get a lot more out of eating. And it's a really good task to do to improve your mindfulness practice. You can do regular 3-minute breathing through the day. So even if it's just going and I would say just sitting on the toilet and just like sit there for a few minutes and just do some mindful breathing, just to calm your mind down and give you your mind and your body just that little bit of a break. And learning to be grateful as well. You know, at the end of the day, think of all the things that you're grateful for, and the more you practice that, the more the more you look for the things to be grateful for, the more you'll see them. And when you communicate with people, I like to use this acronym THINK. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? You know, we all want to be happy in this world, and you know, the way we behave with others can really help others feel better about themselves as well. So, you know, when you're communicating with people, you know, be mindfully aware of what you're saying. Is it true? Is it helpful? Are you being kind or inspiring? And is it necessary? So again, your mindfulness practice will help improve you know, the way you communicate with people. And at the end of the day, end it with a few mindful moments, you know, reflect on your day, you know, how mindful you've been, things that you've been grateful for, where you've been kind, where people have been kind to you, where you've been compassionate with others, where you've helped, all those sort of things. So just ending the day on that note there. That brings me to the end of that those meditations and the presentation. Has anybody got any questions they want to ask? I will send Valentine a link to the meditations that I've guided you through, and the presentation, and I think she's going to send you the recording if you wanted to listen to it again, and also the handout about 9 easy ways to be more mindful, so that you can start introducing it into your daily life you know, right away. We've got another new message there. Sorry, not just Catherine saying that her mind was wandering again. Yeah, so as I say, Catherine, you know, it will do it, but the more it's about recognizing that your mind has wandered and bringing it back, and you know, and that's where the true learning comes, recognizing that it's wandered and bringing it back. So, you know, and that's what mindfulness teaches you to do, and the more you do it, the better you get at it. Okay, any other questions? Judith?
Thank you, Linda.
Okay. Okay, so as I say, Valentine will send you all that information, and you know, and obviously if you feel like anything you know, if I could offer anything else that would be helpful to you, then not, you know, I'm obviously only too willing to be able to do that. So thanks for your time today, and thanks for the questions and your comments. I hope you enjoyed the session. So, okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
bye.
Thank you,
bye.
Linda. I've
Okay.
added the feedback link in the chat if you want to fill out our form, guys. And then again, share some your feedback with Linda later this week. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank
Linda.
you.
Have a
Okay,
good
then.
day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.